One question that always comes up around this time of year is, can Buddhists or should Buddhists celebrate Halloween? And this is a fair question. We are devoted to our practice. We want to realize enlightenment to save all sentient beings from suffering. And we don't want to do anything that will hinder the spiritual gains that we've realized. So, can Buddhists celebrate Halloween? Well, in order to answer that question, we first need to answer this question. What is Halloween? Well, simply put, it started off as a pagan holiday celebrated in Europe, I believe during the winter solstice or somewhere therein, and it was believed that the boundaries between the spirit world and the human world became very thin around this time of year. So it was very easy for dead relatives and malevolent spirits to visit the living, possibly causing them harm. So, people would dress up as spirits so that they could blend in with the ghost. They also put out treats to satiate them, a sort of please eat and then leave quickly type of thing. Now that said, we here in the modern era are very far removed from the pagan rituals that were the beginning of Halloween. For us, it's primarily a secular holiday. We dress up in costumes just because we want to be silly. We hand out candy to kids because it's a nice thing to do. Maybe we go to an office party and eat some cookies that are shaped like witches' fingers. But that's pretty much it. So, in that respect, it'd be very simple and correct to say, yes, absolutely. Buddhists can celebrate Halloween as long as we're not violating the precepts or causing harm to ourselves or others. There's no issue. That said, there is a much deeper and frankly a very beautiful understanding that we as Buddhists can bring to the celebration of Halloween. And to understand this, we must look at the hungry ghost realm in Buddhist cosmology. Now, it's understood that if someone dies with a lot of greed or stinginess in their heart, let's say they were a thief that took things that didn't belong to them, or they were a wealthy person that refused to use their wealth to help the poor, then they would accumulate a lot of negative karma, so much so that they might be reborn as a hungry ghost. Why is that a problem? Well, hungry ghosts are cursed to be always hungry and never full. Their very anatomy is set up so that they can never be satisfied. They have very large stomachs, very thin necks, and small mouths, so that no matter how much they eat, it's never enough to satisfy their hunger. Some of them in the sutras are said to even breathe fire. Imagine that, being ravenously hungry, but each time you try to bring food to your mouth, it disappears in a puff of fiery smoke. Now, hungry ghosts do not remain in this situation forever. They live out their lives as hungry ghosts. They burn off all of their negative karma, so to speak, and then they take rebirth in a higher realm where they can start again. That said, we as Buddhists, we strive to end suffering for all sentient beings, not just humans, hungry ghosts as well. Which is why in Buddhist temples and in Buddhist homes, it's very common to see people giving offerings to the hungry ghost. And this can happen in a variety of ways. Sometimes it's just leaving a few bits of food on your plate after dinner, and then that food is taken up and placed in front of the altar for the ghost. During Buddhist retreats, it's often very common for the monks to come around with a bowl for said hungry ghost, and after the oryoki meal is finished, they will take that food to the altar, light candles, say prayers, offering the hungry ghost a bit of food, satiating their hunger for a short amount of time, ending suffering and showing compassion at the same time. What could be more Buddhist than that? And Halloween, with its ghosts and goblins and spooky things, gives us the opportunity to do the exact same thing. When all of the hungry ghosts come to our door and say trick or treat, and we give them a treat, obviously we can do this because it's just a nice thing to do for our neighbors, but we can also do it with the mindset that we are feeding the hungry ghost of the world, satiating their hunger for a little bit, ending suffering for them, and by extension, for us. By keeping this mindset that we are feeding the hungry ghosts, giving an offering to our neighbors who are dressed up in their costumes, and whatever hungry ghost might be mixed in with the array, we build minds and hearts of compassion, we engage in acts of generosity, and it becomes easier for us to have minds of compassion and of generosity in our daily lives after Halloween is over. So what we do is we take what is a normal secular holiday, which nothing wrong with that, but we transform it into a spiritual practice that helps us and others realize enlightenment. By transforming this secular holiday into a part of our Buddhist ritual, our Buddhist practice, we take this everyday situation and we turn it into something beautiful, something that helps us and the hungry ghosts escape the cycle of suffering. Amitabha.